Yes, we are live. We are here on a snowy and frigid Montreal Wednesday. Good to be with you in my car, my Ash Gregoire Shaman and Nissan, the Maxima SR Edition. Yes, friends, we're pumping out 300 horsepower in this bad boy. Snow accumulation, be damned. I don't get stuck anywhere. And you too can drive your dream Nissan just as I do. Simply go visit my friends, 4299 Otter Route 440 West in Laval. It's Ash Gregoire, Shaman and Nissan. They're open on Saturday. Good to be with you on this Wednesday afternoon. Fresh off my pickleball game at Centre Sportif Côte de Liesse, which, by the way, prompts me to tell you about this. Exactly. You want to get into pickleball? Is this something you want to see if you're going to catch on to? I got to tell you, I love playing pickleball. Now, look, I played badminton when I was younger. I love playing ping pong. I love playing tennis. And my friends over at Exactly have started up what is a brand new venture, locally based and locally owned and operated. And they've started a pickleball company. And as a direct result, I've got the Venom paddle. You can check them out on Instagram, Exactly, XZAKTLY. And proud to tell you, I've got an Exactly pickleball prize pack to give away. And that includes a beautiful carry case with a couple of nice straps for easy transport, for wiffle balls to play pickleball with, a couple of rackets, all courtesy of my friends at Exactly, and in the car with Star. So do y'all want free pickleball stuff? Because I've got it for you. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be giving a giveaway and see if you want to catch on to what is North America's fastest growing sport, and a sport, I got to be honest with you, I love playing. Just finished playing for an hour and 20 minutes or so at the Côte de Liesse. And here we are in the car with Star in the aftermath of the Montreal Canadiens. Coming off a 5-4 loss to Ottawa last night. And once again, the Montreal Canadiens do what they tend to do, and that's slow out of the gates. A couple of goals get by Jake Allen. It's 2-0 Ottawa. And Martin St. Louis gets his team kind of motivated. And off to the races we go in what was a teeter-totter game last night at the Bell Center. Game number 51 of the season for the Montreal Canadiens. That saw Raphael Harvey-Pinard score the 3-3 goal, the 4-4 goal. He's got 5 goals in 7 games. And looks very much the part of a regular NHL player, someone that you can slot in as Martin St. Louis did yesterday. At one point in the second period, RHP out there with Nick Suzuki. Raphael Harvey-Pinard can play a role line a la Brendan Gallagher. So it seems like the Montreal Canadiens have put their hands on a versatile little forward who doesn't seem to be satisfied with his 5 goals in 7 games, speaking afterwards that there are other things that he can do well. And ultimately, the Montreal Canadiens go off to the bye break or all-star break this weekend, losers of 4 in a row and fall down the standings. And look, I mean, as we've spoken about several times already, in this figure-it-out year, this is exactly what Martin St. Louis is doing, whether it's Kirby Dock, depth down the middle and showing that he's starting to grow into the role of being, a top 6 center. Some in this market and outside of Montreal look at Kirby Dock and suggest that he's already better at center than Nick Suzuki, to which I say that is preposterous. I mean, it's an opinion to have. It's an angle to bring to the table. It's an angle to bring up for discussion. But I think if we're talking seriously, it's one of the areas that, quite honestly, sometimes drives me bonkers in Montreal is sometimes fans fall hard for a player, and then sometimes players look at stars and look at young players and the promise and expect more than what they've been given so far. And I honestly think there's a heavy dose of unfairness that comes with criticizing younger players. And especially, as we've spoken often enough in this space right here together, Nick Suzuki's 23 years old. Nick Suzuki is in the first year of being captain of the Montreal Canadiens. Yes, is it his fault that Marc Bergevin signed him to a $7.875 million contract for the foreseeable future that pays him like an elite level center in the National Hockey League? C'est la vie. I mean, anybody that suggests that they wouldn't have taken that deal if they were in the position of Nick Suzuki, I think is honestly lying to you. You go and you get yours, and Nick Suzuki was given the opportunity to go and get his. And now he goes to the break with, 16 goals and 24 assists and 40 points, on pace for a 65-point campaign. Yes, I would like the center of your organization that gets paid nearly $8 million to be a little bit better than 60 to 65 points per season. But nevertheless, we're talking about a 23-year-old playing on a bad team, playing on the number 1 line that draws the number 1 opposition night after night after night, and he's playing almost 23 minutes a night. What else do we want? What else are you asking? A point every game? So what? He's coming off a 1 goal, 7 assists month of January. What has the team done? What are they, 4-11 in January? Something ridiculous like that. Nick Suzuki had 8 points in December as well, which happened to coincide with a janky Montreal Canadiens team that season fell off the cliff after a very strong October and November. And then we could talk about the absence of Cole Caulfield. We could talk about the revolving door of line mates and everything else. I haven't even talked about what Nick Suzuki has done in his career in the very short sample size in the playoffs. He's got, 32 playoff games under his belt and, over 20 points? 22 playoff games last year? And he wasn't a point a game player, but damn, he was close. These are better playoff numbers than Saku Koivu put up in terms of a 30 to 35 game window. These are better playoff numbers than Thomas Plekanec's put up in that 30 to 35 game window. Oh, and yeah, by the way, with Phil Deneau as the number one center and Nick Suzuki slotting in right underneath him, yeah, they won. They won 3 rounds and 1 game in the Stanley Cup final. Now we're talking about a young 21-year-old Kirby Dock, already better than Nick Suzuki. Let's relax for a minute. Kirby Dock 2 years from now might be the Canadiens' number one center. And yes, we could talk about the development of Kirby Dock and what's happened and how he's taken off and how he's now playing and living up to his draft status when Chicago grabbed him. But in the here and now, let's learn from previous mistakes. Let's understand. Let's proceed with a little bit of patience when it comes to the captain of the Montreal Canadiens and everything that goes into that and what they're doing and how this season is playing out. Before we sharpen the knives and carve up a 23-year-old kid that's part of the puzzle and part of the reason why the Montreal Canadiens went to the Stanley Cup final and were 3 wins away from the 25th Stanley Cup. Look, I understand. I watched all the games. You watched all the games. I know it wasn't just Nick Suzuki. I understand what Phil Deneau did. I understand what Carey Price did to Austin Matthews, especially in that first round. But look down the middle. Canadiens got by Austin Matthews. Canadiens got by Mark Scheifele. Canadiens got by William Karlsson, and then ultimately had their asses handed to them by the Tampa Bay Lightning, like pretty much every other organization did when the Lightning were running up titles and becoming like a somewhat of a dynasty in the National Hockey League. But here we are now with Nick Suzuki on a 40-point campaign, on pace for 60-odd points, give or take. And yes, I can understand. I can tell you, I can look at you in the eye and say, yes, it can be better. But this isn't point final. I do honestly believe that this is a figure-it-out year, as I've said many, many times over the course of the 51-game campaign. Martin St. Louis is figuring things out. He's talking about trusting his gut. What does that tell you? It tells you that he goes into a game plan with a set idea, and sometimes you got to pivot, and sometimes you have to trust your instincts. And this morning, with Connor McKenna and yours truly on the morning show on TSN 690, we spoke to former Canadiens coach and former Ottawa Senators coach, Jacques Marte. If you missed that, go over to tsn690.ca as soon as I'm done. I encourage you to listen to it. He talks about coaching. He talks about trusting your gut, relying on instincts, so on and so forth. It's incremental building to ultimately where you want to end up. And it's a process like anything else. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. So patience is what's required. Figuring out exactly who Kirby Dock is. Can he take more minutes? Can he take on more challenging assignments? Put him to the test and let's see. Same thing with Raphael Harvey-Pinard. And on we go as we get closer to the March 3rd NHL trade deadline. And Mike Hoffman's got 9 goals. Mike Hoffman's got 9 assists. That was a beautiful power play goal Mike Hoffman scored yesterday. So, if other general managers around the National Hockey League are paying attention and seeing that there's a little bit more of a giddy up in Evgeny Dodonov's game or Mike Hoffman's game and David Savard's game, and on we go, getting closer to wondering about when Ken Hughes is going to make that move and can he get his coveted 3rd first-round draft pick. Personally, I don't think it's coming in season. I don't anymore. I don't think Joel Edmondson's game is strong enough. I don't think his pedigree is substantial enough. This is not what Ben Sherratt. Look at what Ben Sherratt did last season. Look at his splits before he got traded to Florida for that now so valuable second first round pick the Canadiens have. I don't think Joel Edmondson brings the same equivalent that you saw from Ben Sherratt, and I don't think there's a general manager that's going to pay that price. So if we're working from the angle of bold moves, bold decisions, whatever the case may be, I don't see bold moves, bold decisions being made between now and March 8th. Or March 3rd, excuse me. The NBA trade deadline is February 8th. That's why I got that confused. I don't see bold moves. I see bold moves on the draft floor. As a matter of fact, I got stopped today. Someone listening to the TSN 690 morning show, and he pulled me aside. My buddy Sam, he looked at me, he goes, Sean, what's your deal with Josh Anderson? Why do you hate Josh Anderson? I'm like, what are you talking about? Hate Josh Anderson? No. He goes, Sean, you keep talking about trading him. I'm like, yes, trading him with the angle being that we're looking for bold moves. We're looking for that third first-round draft choice that Ken Hughes says he wants. How do you get it? I don't think Joel Edmondson brings it. I don't think David Savard gets it. Josh Anderson, I think, is the valuable commodity on the right side of 30, has a digestible contract. You know, he's a frustrating player, but that can also make you go, wow, every now and again. And I think there are general managers that are going to look at that and say, okay, I'm going to make a move, maybe a desperate team. We keep hearing about Colorado. Watch out for the Avalanche. The Avalanche are apparently going to be aggressive. I don't know, just as much as I don't know anything about Sean Monahan. When's he coming back? How durable he is? Is he going to be able to prove to Colorado or any team that potentially wants this guy to round out depth at the forward position inside their organization? Like, mystery. It's a mystery. And I honestly, like, if you're a general manager that's going to compete and has designs to compete for a championship, would you take a flyer? And even if you do, what are you going to pay for Sean Monahan, knowing, like we all know, that he's not durable and doesn't last, and because he's had so many significant injuries that. So this is the point I'm getting to here, is that as much as I want a big move and a bold move and something that gets all of us talking, I don't see it. I don't see it happening between now and the 3rd of March. I don't, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm not wrong a lot of the time, especially when I talk to you about Axon and AxonGroup.com. This is a locally owned and operated transportation business. So if you need anything moved, any of your precious cargo, because your precious cargo is now their precious cargo. So cross-border, domestically, coast to coast, you can trust the knowledge and the assets that AxonGroup.com has to get your freight to its destination on budget and on time. You can always inquire about their rates and inquire about more information. Call them, 888-99-AXON, or check them out online at axongroup.com. The comments are coming in this morning. Costa Mamamis. Tikani Sere. Morning, Sean. As far as the 49ers, what could go wrong did go wrong, without question. And it's one of those things. It was so funny because it was unfortunate that the game was such a dud, talking about the NFC Championship game that the Philadelphia Eagles steamrolled the 49ers in. And, I'm not big on hypotheticals. I'm not big on what ifs, what could have been. But what drove me crazy, okay, and I'm not a 49ers, nor am I an Eagles fan. What drove me crazy was the people in the box, the people on the sideline, sitting on their hands, biting their teeth, saying, we're not going to challenge the Devontae Smith catch. No, we're not going to, forget it. Not going to challenge. Look good to us too. What happened? What happened? Devontae Smith catches the ball. They move the chains. Miles Sanders rushes the ball. 7-0 Philadelphia. San Francisco's trailing. San Francisco has to do too much. Brock Purdy gets his elbow run into, and boom, Brock Purdy's season is over. 49ers season is over, and now he's going to need some sort of operation that could or could not prevent him from starting the season on time. Apparently, Brock Purdy's going to have to see a couple of different specialists. Is it reconstruction or total surgically repair? We don't know yet. At least I haven't seen anything this morning into early this afternoon. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those what ifs. What if? Because we saw it in the AFC Championship game, right? The officials move the ball. They spot the ball at the wrong place. What do? They challenge it because they get here right then and there. Boom, you have to react. It's the NFL. You have to move fast. They challenge it. It doesn't work. You lose your challenge. Now, if San Francisco got off their hands and was a little bit more daring, they throw the challenge flag. Devontae Smith's catch, as it turned out, wasn't good. Miles Sanders doesn't rush the ball into the end zone, and who knows what happens. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a very Merry Christmas together. That, my friends, is not the reality. That's what happened. And now the San Francisco 49ers at quarterback go where? Go where? I mean, is this the most cursed organization at the quarterback position like ever? And you say that knowing that Joe Montana and Steve Young ran up title after title after title after title. Ever since then, what's happened? What's happened to any quarterback that's played for the San Francisco 49ers? Nobody can stay healthy. It's unbelievable. And now we have our Super Bowl 57 showdown between Kansas City and the Philadelphia Eagles. I lean towards Kansas City today. I leaned towards Kansas City on Monday. And I'm going to ride the Kansas City Chiefs all the way to Super Bowl 57. Let's go, baby. Super Bowl 58, we know will come in a year's time from now. The other thing I think we know is that Tom Brady is retired. Yeah, news broke this morning at 8:12 a.m. that Tom Brady, through his Twitter account, his Facebook, all the socials, posted a 52-second video that said he's done. He looked very emotional to me. He looked very emotional, looked kind of sad, to be honest with you, knowing that, and it's never easy. It's the same, with your own job. When it's time to pull the plug and pull the chute with something that you've done for a really long period of time, it's very difficult, and it can be heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to walk away from something, knowing that your playing days, what you're known for, your identity, who you are, people applaud you everywhere you go. The reasons people loved you and adored you and fawned over you, those reasons are gone. You're not that person anymore. And where do you go and what do you do? Like, it's what, I get it. I get it in the sense that you're so young, you've retired. And I always think this way, and I could be dead wrong. Like, I think about super rich athletes, the super famous athletes in our lives, right? Michael Jordan or Tom Brady or any of these guys, that they've been so rich for so long and played at such a high level forever that they've done everything you and I fantasize about doing, whether it's threesomes, whether it's buying a mansion, buying a stupid supercar, doing all the things you wanted to do. You have multiple homes, you've traveled the world, you have all the clothes you can imagine, you've bought all the watches you ever dreamed of owning, all of these things. You've done all of it. You've done it twice even. And now you're 45, 44 years old, and now you retire. Like, what are you going to do? They're saying Tom Brady's going to slide right into the Fox broadcast booth. Okay, great, fun. So, he's going to be doing other ventures, acting, production, this type of stuff. And, that's the one thing. I hope Tom's going to have his hands full with hobbies, and I hope he stays in the game. I think he's fun to listen to. I think he has a lot of insight. I think he's the greatest quarterback to ever play football. I think he's the best closer I've ever seen play sports, period. And athletically, I'll take Patrick Mahomes all day, every day. But in terms of the ability demand to get it done, Tom Terrific was fantastic. 7 Super Bowls, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, and the greatest of all time. So yeah, it was one of those things like the Carey Price angle, like the reality sinks in. We all get older, life moves on, father time stops for nobody. We're all adults. We all understand how the world and how life works. But every now and again, we're reminded of it, and we're reminded of sometimes it sucks. Carey Price is done. You're never going to see Carey Price play goal for the Montreal Canadiens ever again. And boy, did people lose their minds once they found out through Angela Price's Instagram account that the Prices apparently are going to move back to Kelowna once their eldest daughter's scholastic year is over and Liv is out of school. They're going to move out west to BC, where Carey Price is from. But boy, oh boy, the concept of people demanding Carey Price give them money back is beyond comprehension. But we know how that works. He needs to be on LTIR, actually helps the Montreal Canadiens, and that's where Carey Price will stay. So all that to say, the Canadiens off on their bye All-Star break, and they're back in action February 11th when they take on the Islanders. Costa says Kansas City is all the way. Kansas City all the way. Is this because the NFC beat your team, like the Eagles beat the 49ers, so now you're just going to cheer for the opposition? It looks like Dock was a steal so far. Yeah, I get it. But, I'm trying not to be so reactionary. For example, the 5-4 loss to the Ottawa Senators. Man, that was the best back and forth game I've ever seen. Oh, people lose their minds. It was the best game. Oh, the best tennis. Oh, we just saw something crazy. It's the best thing I've ever seen. We're so reactionary. We love to talk about it was the greatest thing of all time, right? What we just saw. Kirby Dock is having a nice season. Yes, and he's coming from Chicago where they didn't like him. They said he didn't work hard. They said he was shit in the face-off circle and that he's never going to live up to his draft status. Well, here he is playing a depth role, being the second center behind Nick Suzuki, and he's playing with a lot of confidence. And people tell me he's a possession monster. Okay, great, cool. Listen, I want the same thing y'all want. I want the Montreal Canadiens to be the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Boston Bruins, the creme de la creme. Every single time the Canadiens go to your building or you come to the Canadiens building, you're scared because of how hard it's going to be. I want that. You want that. We're all on the same page, and I want to get there. But I'm not getting there by stepping on Nick Suzuki's shoulders and planting him into the ground and saying that, well, he's on a slump and had 1 goal in January, and Kirby Dock's the best center the Canes have ever had. I'm not there. I like Kirby Dock. I like that he's flourishing. I like that he's gaining confidence. And I like the Montreal Canadiens are building depth down the middle. But I'm not doing it at the expense of shooting down 23-year-old Nick Suzuki. This after he was a part of a team that won 3 rounds and won 1 game in the Stanley Cup final. He was fantastic in the playoffs. Look at his playoff numbers, 32 games, over 20 points. He was fantastic in the playoffs. That is not nothing. That's where legacies and reputations are made. So he slumped. The Canes are bad. They're a bad team. We're not at the point yet where I think we're cherry picking players' performances on a team that isn't competitive. And guess what? They're going to be worse. They're getting worse. That's okay. I guess, you know what? Y'all were right. Y'all were right. 51 games, I'm here. I'm ready for Team Tank. It took me 51 games, but I'm satisfied with the losing. Fine, you beat me. You win. I'm satisfied with the losing. As a matter of fact, F it. Retro reverse jerseys every night for 31 more games. Let's go, baby. Canadiens are 0-6-1 in those retro reverse jerseys. I am not superstitious, but it is what it is. It's 7 games. They haven't won 1. They have 1 point out of 14 possible points. They have 1 point wearing those retro reverse jerseys. 31 more games. Let's go, brother. I'm on board. Team Tank all the way. Tom is the GOAT. Agreed. Steph Howard, what it do, brother? Patrick Waugh would have done the same if there was a salary cap structured the same. Doc is good. Let's see how he does next year. Good for us if he does well. Exactly. Thank you, Steph Howard. Always appreciate it. Don't forget, y'all want one of these? Y'all want a prize pack? I've got a prize pack to give away. It's 2 pickleball paddles made by this lovely company called Exactly. This is the Venom paddle. I love this paddle. I played with it today. It has a nice grip, a good weight to it. Pickleball is not a game of strength. You can't power your way. It's about a little bit more finesse, a little bit more deft touch around the net, so to speak. But I've got an Exactly pickleball prize pack I want to give away to 1 lucky viewer, subscriber to In the Car with Star. So it's a nice Exactly travel bag with a couple of straps. And I'll give you 2 rackets and 4 pickleball balls. So they're little wiffle balls. And I've got a prize pack I want to give to 1 lucky viewer, subscriber, however you want to call it. Thanks to my friends at Exactly. Check them out on Instagram, Exactly, as it's spelled here. You could see XZAKTLY. Check them out on Instagram. Give them a follow. And if you're into pickleball, I got to tell you, it's such a fun sport to play, guys. It is so fun. Playing defense is amazing. Going to the net, soft touches. Like I said, it's not a power game. Like, you're not going to smash big winners, big smashes, big serves, so on and so forth. It's more of a net kind of defensive, stay on the balls of your feet, kind of react quickly, right? So hit me up in the comments. You want an Exactly pickleball prize pack? I'll give one away this week to one of my lucky subscribers. Just hit me up in the comments. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, and I'll draw 1 lucky winner, and you'll get yourself a prize pack to get you started in pickleball, okay? So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments. Here's another one coming in. Thought on whether Monahan will be moved at trade deadline time or other players for that matter. As we spoke about already, I'm all about bold moves, and I don't think the Montreal Canadiens got it. Bo Horvat is gone from Vancouver, traded out to the New York Islanders for Anthony Beauvillier. Artu Ratu, what is supposed to be a coveted prospect, and then a protected pick, a top 12 protected pick for the draft. I don't see it. I don't think Joel Edmondson has it to get Ken Hughes what he wants. I don't think Mike Hoffman or Denny Dodonov or Jesus Christ, Jonathan Drouin. I don't think any of these guys in a package. Mike Hoffman, throw him in there too. I don't think we're talking about any of these guys getting what Ken Hughes wants back in return, and that's a coveted first-round selection this summer at the draft. And so it leads me down the path to believe that Ken Hughes and the Canadiens front office staff are going to make a bold move, and I think that bold move is likely to come on draft day, perhaps on the draft floor, to make it a little bit more exciting, because between now, it's Feb 1 today. The Canadiens have a handful of weeks to go in order to structure some sort of deal, and we keep hearing that Colorado is in hot pursuit, Sean Monahan. But again, okay, fine. So the Canadiens trade Sean Monahan for what? No one's giving up a first-round pick for Sean Monahan, knowing that, one wrong turn, one accidental collision, the guy's not playing hockey again for the rest of the year for your team. What are you giving up for that? Not much. So I'm really starting to believe more and more that the Canadiens' big bold move is likely to come on the draft floor on draft day, and not in the days leading up to the March 3rd NHL trade deadline. In the Car with Star, proud presentation of AxonGroup.com. For more information, call them 1-888-99-AXON. They have the knowledge and the assets to get your precious freight to its destination on time, on budget. Locally owned and operated, a leader in the transportation and logistics space, as I mentioned already. They've got the knowledge. They've been in this for a long time. You see their trucks on the roads. Saw one yesterday on the Ville-Marie Expressway. Axon is a company that is locally owned and operated, and your freight matters most to you. Well, guess what? They take care of your freight as if it was their own, that they need to move delicately, on time, and most importantly, on budget. We're not talking about surprise costs here or there. They have the knowledge, the assets, the logistical capabilities to get your freight, whether we're talking coast to coast in this country or outside of the border. So domestically, cross-border shipping, the logistics behind the knowledge and the assets, unbeatable. AxonGroup.com. For more information, they're always available. 888-99-AXON. Thanks for tuning in. Always appreciate the support, and always appreciate the comments. Don't forget, you can subscribe to our all of our platforms, whether we're on Facebook, on Instagram, certainly here on YouTube, where you can always find us, and it's completely free. We've got free sports picks all week, all the time, and fun little giveaways like my Exactly Pickleball prize pack, 4 balls, 2 rackets, and a nice, awesome, convenient carrying case. Hit me up in the comments. You want an Exactly Pickleball prize pack to get you started in what is the fastest growing sport in North America? You know where to find me, all right? We'll be back later this week. The Montreal Canadiens won't be back for a week and a half. They're only back in action on Super Bowl weekend. What are we going to do between now and then? We have some ideas. Keep it locked in. The Car with Star. Peace.